Good afternoon. My name is Peter Irish. I'm the CEO of the Barrett Group, and today we have the pleasure of interviewing Monique Douglas on the hiring line. Monique Douglas is head of recruiting at T-Mobile for the marketing and certain other functions. Monique, would you please introduce yourself?
So my name is Monique Douglas. I lead talent acquisition for T-Mobile's marketing, emerging products, and strategy and integration teams out of Bellevue, Washington. I've been with T-Mobile just over a year, but I've been in talent acquisition for longer than I'd like to admit. Probably 30 plus years in talent acquisition. And I've worked on all sides of the coin. I started in the agency world where I um, found talent and placed them in corporations. I spent 18 years of my career at Microsoft. I've worked in healthcare. Um, I prior to joining T-Mobile a year ago, I ran talent acquisition for the engineering organization at HBO, now Warner Media. So a little bit about me, and I've done pretty much everything in talent acquisition, from recruiting for a particular business to leading global teams to running programs, process, and compliance. I've really kind of done everything you can do in recruiting, and I love it. It's a great business to be in.
Well, that was very interesting. Thank you. Now let's turn to the subject of COVID and how COVID has impacted your business from the outset.
Um, COVID impacts. Gosh, I think they're all over the map. For T-Mobile specifically, we were not ready for work from home, I think, across all of our organization. And I think that speaks volumes about the kind of work that we're in. We have a full range of talent, from our retail folks who are frontline and working with our customers, to customer care centers that are distributed across the US, to our corporate roles. And we weren't really ready for all of those folks to work from home. And so we've really had to rethink how we show up for our customers, and how we can create a safe place for our employees to work, which resulted in our IT teams having to spin very quickly. I think there's a silver lining in that, which is, now that we know how to do it, maybe we'll do more of it, which I think offers up opportunities for lots of different business strategies. One, improving diversity within an organization, because you now all of a sudden are more open to where someone sits, because not all of our locations, or at least our corporate headquarters, are what I would consider to be epicenters for diverse talent. They're not that attractive to that workforce. And so being more flexible about where folks can work from is really critical. And managers now know they can do it. And so I think that's a good thing that's come out of COVID.
May I just ask, does that
Yeah,
mean that you plan to continue working from home, or do you have a fixed point at which you would like to get back to the office? How does the company see that?
we have sort of a hybrid approach. So right now, everyone is working from home 100% remotely, except for those employees who are in a store. And then there are different types of support for those folks who are frontline with customers, whether we're meeting customers outside, doing, drop off at your car, scheduling Zoom calls with customers, those kinds of things, to sign up for, new services or buy new equipment or that kind of thing.
What about the market aptitude, the market appetite for your services these days? Is it grown? Is it fairly stable? Did it suffer a contraction? How do you
We've
see
done,
that?
yeah, telephony and wireless specifically, I think is a COVID winner, right? I mean, folks need a phone. Most people don't have landlines anymore. And T-Mobile offers, the best product and services in the marketplace. We're first to go to 5G. We, offer plans that delight customers and don't make them bound contractually for their lives. That's how we built our business, was to be disruptive and help customers be successful. So we've done quite well. We've even rolled out new product in this time frame. We launched Internet in the Home, again, to compete in the home internet space. And again, that's about being disruptive for the marketplace and making a better product for customers to partner with. We recently launched T-Vision, which is internet television available for our customers. And we're seeing significant lift in those new products, right? And I think that a lot of that has to do with the loyalty and the way we've cared for our customers over the years that has enabled the growth of those products. We also acquired Sprint. We lived through an acquisition in the midst of COVID, which was an interesting endeavor, I will tell you, not something I think I'd sign up for.
Do you think COVID influenced the ability to acquire Sprint, or was it just coincidence?
I think it was just coincidence. I mean, we were in acquisition stage for a couple of years, right? Like,
Right.
that's not a small acquisition, and it
No.
has to go through many of our government reviews in order for it to be a reality. It just so happened that reality came in February, and COVID came in, really hit us hard in March, right? And so we had an extra sort of thing to deal with in addition to COVID. So the merger of the two companies, and ensuring that we could, during a time of uncertainty and who knows what's next kind of thing from a work environment space, we also had to inspire employees who didn't know T-Mobile, and get them on board. And I think our leadership team, Mike Sievert and his crew, did an amazing job of embracing that employee population. And all of those folks that I know that worked at Sprint, now T-Mobile, love T-Mobile and are excited to be a part of the organization. So,
well, as I shared with you before, we're always interested in the subject of transferable skills. Many times people bring skills or experience from other industries that they can very successfully employ in a new position. If you were to go out and shop for transferable skills that would be appropriate for T-Mobile, what would you be looking for, and what industries might they come from?
transferable skills that I see that happen in every environment is the ability to work cross-functionally, to solve problems and think outside of the box. In every industry, there's problems that you have to solve, and being able to talk about how you can solve those problems and what steps you took and parties that you brought into the table and how you thought through the problem. That's all really transferable. We also have the need for data. Data is a big driver today in the world that we all live in. There's more data available, as you mentioned early on. And so having experts who can comb through that data, and it's really more of a problem solving skill set first. It's, how do you develop the right questions? What are you looking for? What are you trying to solve with the data? Almost more scientific in nature. Then it's the analysis skill.
Does,
And if you
does,
don't,
does that mean, excuse me, does that mean
uh,
that industry background is perhaps secondary as far as you're concerned? It's more your actual skills?
yeah, in many roles, in more data-driven roles, industry background is really not that important anymore. It's really more about the quality skills that somebody brings to the table, right? Around those things, problem solving, thinking through what is the problem we're trying to solve, building that hypothesis, and trying then to answer that with data is and so, yeah, so I don't often look for people who have wireless experience, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
No, as far as impacts, other impacts, I mean, when I was speaking to a Google executive recently, she was talking about productivity, that she personally now saves an hour and a half because she doesn't have to drive to the office and come back. And she said, actually, we work more as a result, but of course, we're
mhm.
more productive, so much so that we sometimes burn out and we have to adopt a meeting culture that protects us. Do you see any of that going on? Productivity gains, meeting culture, the need to adopt different approaches to running a meeting when you're doing so many of them virtually?
Um, for me personally, and I lead a team of recruiters, I don't see the productivity impact as much, largely because we were working remotely prior to COVID anyways. Recruiting is a function that can easily be done remotely. And honestly, if you want to recruit the best recruiters, you're flexible as a leader. Like I wouldn't lead a team in any other way, and I wouldn't work in an environment that wouldn't allow me as a leader to make that decision. So my crew would come to the office maybe once a week, depending on what their schedules would look like. Um, we've all had to get used to cameras. Nobody was really used to cameras, so I would say that's probably been the biggest change. And I think the other challenges that we've faced that you lose in a face-to-face meeting is sort of you can see somebody's body language, see when they're going to sit back in a chair, kind of know when a sentence is going to be finished. Where in online meetings, you don't see that as much, right? And so people talk over each other. There's sometimes delay in technology. And so just getting over that and, then having some compassion for those who do talk over is, I think, skills we've developed during this time.
Now, I've
Um,
seen some of the retailers that I've been talking to have talked about the huge demand they suddenly had for logisticians, for people with logistical backgrounds, because the whole acquisition and distribution of products has changed dramatically as a result. I mean, a simple example is toilet paper goes out of stock in
mhm.
May or whenever, and all of a
Yeah.
sudden you have a huge logistical problem. Now, you don't have the need to stock product, but did you see sudden spikes or changes in the demand profile for skills in your business during this period?
I would say no. Like we've not seen a shift in a change for talent, the type of talent. We have a significant logistical challenge ourselves, right? The delivery of a phone to a store and making sure you have the right phone in the right store at the right time based on volume sales and things like that is a challenge. But it's a challenge we've been facing for a long time. It wasn't anything new. So there's not a significant change in that talent. I would say we in the logistics space, I would say we do now go after um, talent that has more experience in that space and who now you can get education in logistics and things like that. And so we do look for that as well in that space. But it's a small and mighty team. So
So if you look at the last couple of months, I'm sure that there were some pretty hair-raising times, but has it calmed down for you? And how do you see the next couple of quarters evolving?
yeah, I think that's interesting because, COVID, I didn't, impact our business as much. We, on the main side have kept going and kept going. For me and my world and in the recruiting organization, the biggest impact actually was the acquisition because we went through a period of time where we were assimilating people into teams and trying to figure out, who goes where and what does that look like and building out new organizational models, which resulted in the creation of 250 jobs that we literally opened over a weekend
Wow.
that I did myself personally. It was not a fun weekend. um, but and then, my small team went out and filled those jobs and we're coming off of that now. So we're a team of 5 and we've been working really hard to get that work done and we're coming off of that. So go forward, I sort of see, you know, not as much new creation of roles as much as just backfilling and standard attrition. And I think in a world of COVID, um, I think you'll see less people leaving potentially. I think there's some fear for people, or when
Hmm.
making job changes and things like that right now.
Hmm.
Um, so we'll see what the future brings. It could mean a lower workload for our team, which creates opportunity for us to go do other things. Honestly, there's lots of great work we can do. So, you know, just finding talent is not the only thing a recruiter can bring to the table, as you know.
Definitely.
So,
So tell me a little bit about your own personal track record, if you wouldn't mind. How did you come to be where you are? Where are you going? Whatever you'd like to share, Monique.
yeah, it's a long journey. um, like I said, I started in the agency world. I actually was very successful recruiting in the agency world and sort of fell into technology recruiting in the agency space. In a time where technology was not technology. It was, I was recruiting ABAP programmers for the airline industry, which was, that goes way, way back. I sold Microsoft an on-site program and placed myself there because I thought they were a critical customer, and then took my own recruiting advice, which was, move into a company that can offer you lots of opportunity, because I didn't think I was going to be in recruiting for the rest of my career. They were gracious enough to offer me a full-time opportunity, and I joined them, and I realized that I really loved recruiting and saw all the different opportunities within recruiting at Microsoft. So over the course of 18 years there, I did everything from, individual recruiting for an organization to running a global team to thinking through recruiting product and innovation, and how could you stay ahead of the game kind of things. Was part of an incubation lab there, and it was super fun work. And left there because I thought, okay, gosh, I've spent all this time in technology. What is the grass like outside of this place? I went into healthcare, and that was a different set of challenges, and spent most of my career sort of in that program process side, and really realized that I missed the frontline recruiting business. So that I went back into that, and have been really leading teams ever since then. I still carry recs occasionally. My team will tell me, "You're the only manager I know that still recruits," but it keeps me fresh. It makes me understand what they're going through. It helps me understand the marketplace. So it's something I'm pretty committed to doing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't carry a ton of recs, but I do carry, a handful here or there. What's next for me? I don't know. It's probably not. It's probably my own thing, my own gig. I don't know what that looks like yet. I really love T-Mobile. I've only been here a year, so I could see being here, for another 3 years or so. I think there's lots of opportunity here to make an impact and to help them continue to grow and be successful. But longer term, I don't know. I could see myself doing a lot of things.
Well, I don't want to get too salesy, but the first step of our 5-stage program is something we call the Clarity Program.
Mm.
And the purpose of that is really to help people answer the question I've just asked you. We start with a psychographic analysis to understand their personality, and then we do what we call a whole life snapshot to see where they are in their lives right now with
Mhm.
respect to important things like financial, career, health, and their social context. And then we help them develop a 5-year plan, a personal strategic plan. And the reason we do that is because when I hired the Barrett Group back in 2014 to help me, I wasted a couple of months bumbling around in the market because I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And Clarity Program really helps people put a frame around it very quickly. Within, let's say, 2 weeks, they have a pretty clear idea of where they're going to go, and then we know where to take them. So
Mhm.
anyway, I don't want to get too salesy, but so what advice would you have for executives who might want to enter your industry or your company? Uh, you know, I don't want to say that you have openings, but what kind of advice would you have for them?
We are in a disruptive time in how people do pretty much anything. And so you having that disruptive mindset and building solutions for customers in that sort of space is a critical skill. Leadership is exponentially more important today than I think it ever has been in the past. Not only from, motivation and inspiration and getting people aligned on a strategy and of, values and mission and all that great stuff, but being a good human being, being real, being transparent, um, doing what you say you're going to do, like all of those things in this climate are almost way more important than some of the other things, right? Um, People are not going to follow a leader that they don't trust and they don't have it's not transparent and those kinds of things. And so um, I think that that's super, super important in today's world for leadership.
That's great. Well, thank you very much. Any
Yeah.
other last points you might like to raise, either about your company or about the industry or?
Yeah, sure. Well, we're always hiring. So first and foremost, so if anybody's interested, and we have a wide range of what we would call director and above, which is executive level hiring for us.
Mhm.
We have a team that's dedicated to the work around hiring executives. And if anybody's interested in learning more about T-Mobile, I'm happy to have a chat with you. Great company, great leadership, good opportunity, solid business with lots of new and exciting things coming down the pipe, and we move pretty quickly, so that's good. Our customers love us. They're very loyal, so that's all good too. Um, and we're out to win the war in wireless for sure and continue to, grow. I think that brings lots of interesting challenges and opportunities that come along with it. So
That's great. Well, always hiring. That's a very strong motto right there,
yeah.
Monique. Well, I just say thank you very much for coming on the show today, and I wish you great success and great health.
Yeah, well, thank you. Same to you. Have a great day, Peter.